everyone, Tony Winston here, Jazz Piano College, doing a Latin tune today, written by Antonio Carlos Jobim, and it's called, I don't want to say it because I'll mess it up, but the English translation is No More Blues. We'll just call it Chega, yeah, Chevrolet. Okay, I did make a backup track for this, and I will put a link down in the description to it. It's certainly nothing special. First, I'm going to go over a couple of the chords. I'm not going to go too much into that today. Just going to give you a few little suggestions on how to play it solo or along with the track. Yeah, these were my shakers. I think I just used one of them, and they're so cool too. Check a look. Yeah. And then I played a clave, and I put some fake bass drum in there, and that's about it. Or maybe you're playing like an accompaniment on solo piano for maybe somebody else who wants to sing it. No, he says this is not authentic to do this. But every video I've looked at for drums, the bass drum is going boom, 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 boom. So if you don't have a drummer and you're just playing solo piano, there's certainly nothing wrong with putting that in once in a while. I mean, you keep enough rhythm going with your right hand that you don't really need it, but there's certainly nothing wrong with putting a little bit of that in. I mean, you're going to tell Steely Dan on Ricky Don't Lose That Number, it's not authentic. You know what else is not authentic? Piano on a bossa nova tune. It's mostly guitar. So let's not worry too much about that. All right, so there are a few. The version I listen to is probably the most kind of commercial version. I'll put a link to it also in the description. And the chords are slightly different. Like for instance, here the E7 kind of has a flat 9. I at least heard it some of the time. When you get down here to where it says B flat minor 6, that is correct. All right. And the interesting thing is when you get to the A, you do not have to change this. See, that's an altered dominant. 7th, 3rd, you got the flat 9 and the flat 13. Most of the time they're calling that a sharp 5 these days. But there's a spot in the song later on where it really makes sense to call it a flat 13, and I wish they would just adopt that. For instance, if you're going like A13, and then you want to go to A with a flat A7 with a flat 13, and then to D with a 9 and D with a flat 9. That's a real common progression, and we actually have that later on in this song where it goes F sharp, 13, F sharp with a flat 13, and then B7 with a 9, and then B7 with a flat 9. Okay, it's not really written in the chart that way, but that's the way they play it. That's really about it. Over in the C section, there's an E dominant chord where they've got E minor 7th, and it sounds just fine either way. So, and also the melody doesn't seem to be, what was on the version that I listened to. All right, I don't want to get into copyright trouble, so I'm just playing that little bit. But you notice I played the melody down here an octave lower. Honestly, this song on piano would probably be better in a different key, maybe maybe in the key of A minor instead of D minor. It would just lay on the piano, I think, a little bit better, because Nobody sings it up that high. It's sung down here. But I found that you could play it down here, and it works for most of the song pretty well. So for E7, I just did this. Now, you could maybe put the flat 9 in there, but actually it kind of grinds against the melody. So let's leave that flat 9 out. Just do it the way they say. And what am I missing here? I don't have the 7th. So what? And then here, since the melody, completes the chord there, I just did this. And, if you're trying to kind of get the sound of, what a guitar player might play, they're not going to be playing chords like this. 7-note chords with all that stuff like that. It's impossible on guitar. You want to thin it out quite a bit. So that's enough, I think. Just, you're coming from E7 to B flat minor 6 to A7. And like I say, if you're playing the chords, you just change the bass note. And on the recording, it goes to like an E flat there, which is the tritone sub. But maybe you could just go, I'm just playing A7th there. And the bass would take care of that. Now here, I think it's better to put that E7 in the whole measure. I mean, you could do it the way the chart is, but that's not how I heard it. Or maybe like that, get the 7th in there. And then root position on A minor, because if you do rootless there, you don't get that sense of changing keys, because we're kind of changing key into A minor here. Now on B flat, maybe you got to fill that in a little bit more. And then we have A suspended. Well, the melody is the suspension, so let's put a 5th in. Many times when you have a major 7th chord, that's like, say if you're in the key of D minor, and you get E flat major, or B flat major 7th, E flat major 7th, play the Lydian mode. Because it'll keep that one note in common, and it'll help it flow better. Or B flat. And then here, it looks like a D minor, but it really was D7 on the recording. So let me take that line. It would certainly sound fine to do minor and then change, but I'm just going by what I heard. All right, there's B diminished or E7, either one. And then just down a half step for that B flat minor 6, and then just change the root like that. And that's the little transition in the version that I listen to. Because this is really like two songs, one in a minor key and one in a major key. And there's our B7 with the sharp 5. That refers to the 5th going up. E7 is what I heard, and the melody was much different. It was something like... Diminished is certainly correct, but the bass player plays F, and then for D major plays the F sharp, which kind of makes it an F sharp minor chord. I think it makes more sense to play D diminished and then D major 7th, because then you have a chord change to get to there. Starting to get a little bit low for the melody, so let's come up here. talk a little bit about the rhythm. If you notice there on the D major chord, that last note there is a push. It's on the and of 4, and then we've got the and of 1, the and of 2, the and of 3, the and of 4, the and of 1, the and of 2, the and of 3. So they're all pushes. So if you're clicking your fingers, 2, 3, 4, dun 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 dun. Let me click over here. All right, 2, 3, 4. All right, every one of those is like in between the beat. If you're playing solo piano, or maybe even with the track, you might go. I changed the rhythm a little bit that time, but the point I was trying to make was, play hands together rhythmically. And most of these are pushes too. With practice, you can spot what I call a push, the notes that are in between the beats. You can spot them pretty easily. Da, da, ba, da, ba. Right there, you got 2 more. 1, 2, 2. Once again, they're all pushes. So maybe another way to do it, just put the chord down on 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Because if you're playing solo and you don't have anything on 1, all those pushes are going to start sounding like just playing quarter notes or something. Oop, minor. All right, now there's the 13. See, B flat 13. All right, that's the 13. And then they say sharp 5. But if you realize that's a flat 13, it makes it easier. And then you go right into E9. And, maybe you put an E flat or an E with a flat 9 after that. And then to the suspended. Maybe resolve it, I don't know. All right, and here's the spot I was thinking of earlier. All right, so definitely add that on the recording. Or even keep it down there. And you got A suspended. You play a G major, even G major 7th will work there. Like that. And D6. There's our 6. There's our 9. So I'm kind of going back and forth between a solo style and a trio style. But there you go. All right. Now I think what I'll do, and I'll put this in a separate video, I'm going to play the song. I haven't practiced this, but I'm going to play the song. I'm going to take a little solo on it.